Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Gilbert Leonardo, and today I'm going to present my presentation. It's about teaching language components. So, what is the aim of this presentation? This presentation presents the language components that can support students to use language as a means of communication in oral or in written form, and to increase knowledge of the language system so that the longer term aim of improving productive and receptive skills can be achieved. So there are formulate methods, strategies, ways in teaching language components. So the first one is grammars. So you might wondering what is grammar? Grammar is basically the rule of an English sentence. The rule how to make a sentence. Even though you have the vocabularies, you have the perfect pronunciation, but you don't know how to use the grammar or the rule, then it's a complete useless. So grammar teaching sometimes happens as a result of other work the students are doing. For example, when they study language in a text, they have been reading or listening to, or when a grammar problem presents itself unexpectedly in the middle of a lesson and we feel we have to deal with it on the spot. Means that whenever you feel like, oh, there's something wrong with my sentence, you will have to fix it right on the spot. Such as when the sentence is about past tense, you should change the word form into past tense so that the readers or the listeners don't get misunderstood. So here are the examples. What does she do? The aim is that the students will be able to make statements about people's routine, actions, and status. The activity is guessing jobs or making statements about routine and explain in practice sequence. The language is present simple, so the age requirements to study is any. You can learn from any age, but the level right here is for the beginner and elementary. Next is teaching vocabulary. So what is vocabulary? Vocabulary means that it's a group of words that when you gather with a grammar, it makes a sentence. So we can make sure that students experience new word in context in various types of text so that they can understand how they are used, such as when you, like I said before, when you want to use the past tense in a sentence, you should use a vocabulary or a word, but in a past form, such as they go to the store yesterday. So what is the wrong? What's wrong in the sentence? So the verb, you must change it into past form. So instead of they go, they went to the store yesterday. Perhaps the best way of introducing new word is to get the student to read text or listen to audio tracks so that they can see or hear those words in action. So this is the example of vocabulary. On the farm. So the aim right here is that the student will learn how to say and remember words related to farms activity. Listen, point, repeat, and chant. So that the student not only learn how to say and remember, but develop the words on the farm. Like I'm on the farm with my brother, or on the farm with chickens. So the level to learn this is beginner and The age is for the young learners, age to 3 to 5. And keep in mind, when teaching young learners, we want them to associate words and phrases with pictures and sound. Why? Because we consider them still a child, so that if we provide the pictures plus the sounds, such as on the farm, we provide them a picture of a farm and a sound of a farm, such as a chicken sound, or a cow, or a pig, something like that. And from there, you can ask your students to develop the vocabularies. And we're moving into using dictionaries. So dictionaries come in many shapes and sizes, especially in this era. Students can have them as apps on their mobile device. They can access them online or have paper dictionaries in their classroom or homes. From dictionaries, students can learn how it is used and how it is pronounced, such as the word bay, B-A-Y. We don't pronounce it by, but we pronounce it bay because that is how you pronounce it, either using phonemic symbols or I'm sorry, of offering an audio clip of the word being spoken. But we must tell them to not use dictionaries very often. Why? Because whenever someone talks to them and there's some word that they don't understand, they will search it on a dictionary, and it makes their listening skills bad. Now you ask, what does it have to do with listening skills? Because whenever, let's say there's a foreigners trying to talk with your students, and you're asking about a direction, but your students incapable of incapable to provide the answer. So instead of reply, they search it first on the dictionaries. So while they're searching it, the foreigners keep talking to them like, what is this place, or how to go to this place, and your students cannot catch what they say, and makes their listening skills bad. So we're moving into teaching pronunciation. So what is pronunciation? Pronunciation is how you produce sound of a word. Means that pronunciation teaching not only makes students aware of different sounds and sound features, but also improve their speaking immeasurably, concentrating on sounds, showing them showing the students where they are made in the mouth, making them aware of stress, vowels in words and phrases, and now intonation words. All these things give extra information about spoken English and help the students achieve the goal of improved comprehension and intelligibility, such as when you want to pronounce a some alphabet, like J in Indonesian is different in G in English. So you have to learn how to pronounce it, not only words, but sentence. So you gotta have a lot of practice with it. But there are also pronunciation problems. What students can hear. Some students have great difficulty hearing pronunciation features, which we want them to reproduce. This may be because their mother tongues do not use sounds which English does, such as when you met an Indian guy or a Russian guy, you might hear them saying some English words, but in a wrong pronunciation. Means that they pronounce it but with their rules, such as um, in India, they mostly use T or N, such as we cannot do that, sir. So it's like more like their accent, and there's nothing you can do about it. Or it may be because, for example, their mother tongues use a particular sound which is halfway between two sounds in English. Like I said before, they try to pronounce it with their rules or with their accent. Some Asian speakers have difficulty pronouncing I and R correctly and say, for example, right when they mean right. This is because they may not, without training, actually hear I and R as different sounds. This is this happens mostly in the Malaysian or Vietnam or the Chinese and so on. So in pronunciation, there are teaching priorities. Um, the first is consonant, like B, C, D, F, G, H, and so on, and vowel in A, I, U, E, O, and the word stress. Now, what is word stress? Word stress is like when there's a specific word that you must emphasize so that your listeners can understand what you say, such as saying, saying. You emphasize yin, not say. Like, don't say saying, but say saying. So that's how word stress works. And there are also weak forms. Now, weak forms is basically words that you don't have to pronounce, such as a D in a friend. You don't have to say friend, all you have to say is friend. So that is weak forms. And tones. Tones is important, especially in language or when you try to communicate, because whenever you try to communicate, tones is mostly uh, decide what your emotion, such as when you are mad, you very often use a higher tones so that people know that you are angry at the moment. Or when you are sad, you mostly lower your tones or try to make a sad tones. So the last thing is language study may not be the main focus of a lesson sequences. However, it may be only one element in a greater design, in which case a decision will have to be taken about where the study activity should be placed in the sequence. And without a proper language study, many people stuck into a misunderstanding because they don't know how to pronounce a word or where should they put the word. So basically, even though language study may not be the main focus of the lesson sequences, but language study is important in real life. The way we try to communicate, the way we try to open a conversation, it is very important to study a language components. So that's all my presentation. I hope you guys enjoy it, and